Oh, hello. Can everybody
Hey,
hear me?
Coach. Yes, how are you doing, Coach Rob?
Hey, Christian, how are you, man? Good to see you.
Doing well. Likewise, it's good seeing you as well.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, Tyler. Welcome, Rebecca. Welcome, Sola.
Hi,
Hey, Rebecca. Hey,
thank
Tyler.
you. Sorry, without camera, busy cooking.
Thank you for being here, Sola. I appreciate you. Hey, John.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you, man?
Good.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
I may have to jump off, but I wanted to attend what I could.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'll give it another couple of minutes and I'll get started. One more minute, I will kick it off. All right, guys. Thank you again so much for being here. Really appreciate you guys. Those of you who are on Zoom, most of us we know one another, except for Sola, I believe, is the first time we've met. Thank you so much for being here. We're also live streaming right now on YouTube and on TikTok. So for those of you who don't know me live streaming, I'm going to take a minute to properly introduce myself. My name is Coach Rob. I'm a life coach. I've been a life coach now for just about 2 years now, and I really help people become the best versions of themselves, specifically through sobriety, fitness, and discipline and mindset. Those are really my four pillars, my four strengths, my four real the foundation of my messaging. And I created an online community called Pure Life Mindset, which is on a school platform, which has grown now to over 1,700 members in just over a year. It's been quite a journey. I started this journey, it was August 2025 or 2024 now already. I'm starting to lose track of years already. I can't believe we're already in 2026. And I started out just, wanting to help out people, trying to find a platform to get my message out, trying to help people. And I completely fell in love with school. I've been all in ever since, and it's been incredible meeting incredible people that are on this call, like Rebecca and Christian and John. Great people, and we've been able to spread the word and to help a ton of people. Now we have members from 35 different countries. It's been quite a journey. And, I talk about life coaching, but it always excuse me, it doesn't always, it hasn't always, I'm looking for my words this morning, excuse me. It hasn't always been roses for me. If you go back just over 6 years ago, I was a chef working in my own restaurant, but which was a dream of mine at the time. It's something that I always wanted to do, but unfortunately, that dream turned into a nightmare for myself personally. I fell hard into alcohol. I was, depressive, alcoholic, anxiety through the roof. I was in a really, really bad mental and physical state at that point, and I was really at rock bottom. It was a very challenging time for me, and thankfully, 6 years ago, I was able to turn my life around. I made a decision that this was no longer going to be my story, that I was meant for more in my life. And through a ton of support, family support, friends support, professional support, I was able to pull myself out of it through the grace of God. And the last couple of years, again, I've really been looking for a platform to really just help people, support people as much as I can, because I know that there are a ton of people that are struggling out there, not only with sobriety, but with mental health, with physical health, with, trying to strive for more, but lacking confidence, lacking self-esteem. And I just want to, help as many people out there as possible. So that's why I created this community. And I've been all in ever since. Today, a specific subject, I wanted to touch on the art of decision making, also taking action, living with intention and discipline. So this was really today's subject of conversation. Again, thank you so much for being here, guys. I'm going to be jumping right into a presentation now. I'm going to be sharing my screen, and we'll be going through all 4 of these important pillars. Can everybody see my screen?
I don't see your screen.
Everybody can see the presentation?
No, I can't see it.
You
Nope.
can't see it? Hold on 1 second.
And I'm on Zoom.
All good?
Yep, I will see your screen.
All right. Give me a second. I'm just going to find the right presentation. Oh, everybody can see that? Good stuff. So today we're going to be talking about, again, the art of decision making, taking action, living with intentionality and discipline. My story, we just went through it, so I won't go through it again. So let's start with the art of decision making and why we avoid it and we shouldn't avoid taking decisions. So on the left, we're going to be going through the main reasons why people avoid making decisions. And on the right, we're going to be going through why people really shouldn't avoid taking decisions. So the number one reason why people avoid taking decisions is they want to avoid making the wrong decision, right? People want to make sure that if they're making a decision for themselves, especially if it's an important decision to make, they want to make sure that they make the right one, right? But the thing is, most people don't realize is that the only wrong decision is indecision, right? Because making decisions, whether it's right or wrong, will provide clarity moving forward. Indecision will not provide any sort of clarity. We often think that we need to know everything about something before going all in, before making a decision towards that whatever we're looking towards. Maybe it's changing jobs, maybe it's changing relationships, maybe it's having that difficult conversation, maybe it's taking a business risk. We feel like we need to know it all before pulling the trigger. But oftentimes we don't have the information until we actually pull the trigger and make that decision and go into it all in. And then as you go along in the journey, the path starts to reveal itself over time, right? So you cannot know everything before going all in. Again, the only wrong decision is indecision, and any decision, right or wrong, will provide clarity, right? If you're right, good, you're right. Let's go. Thumbs up. Let's move forward. If we're wrong, well, the lessons learned in the decision, the lessons learned in the journey will get you that much closer to where you need to be down the road. Or you might decide, well, this is not the right path. I've gone through it. I realize it's not the right path. Now I can move on, head clear, realizing that with my full, having the full information, that it's not the right thing, right? For example, for me, at the point, if you will look back 8 years ago, I was sure I was going to be a chef for the rest of my life. That's what I wanted to be with all of my heart. I loved cooking. I loved cooking for friends and family. I loved entertaining. That was me. Even, it was my main hobby. Even when I was alone at home on a Sunday afternoon, I used to listen to tunes and just cook. It was my favorite thing to do. So I figured I could translate that into owning my own restaurant, right? And turns out that was a mistake. I went all in. I decided, I took a decision. I went all in. I left my 6-figure job. I had a lot to lose. And it's not like I had nothing to lose. I had a lot to lose. I went all in. We opened up the restaurant, and it turned out to be a big mistake at the time. It was a big mistake because we turned it into a success, but my health took a major hit. I turned to alcoholism. I was in a really bad state of mind personally. But the lessons learned in the moment, obviously, it felt like a disaster, like the end of my life. I hit rock bottom. I was done, right? It was a horrible time in my life. But the lessons that I learned through that brought me to where I am today. And I wouldn't be here speaking to you guys, helping people, through life struggles if I hadn't gone through that myself, right? So every decision may not always be the right one, but it will clear the path to your eventual purpose. So you have to trust in in the fact that the only wrong decision is indecision, and that will create stagnation. And when you have stagnation, you have death. Basically, stagnation equals death. So you want to be moving forward, right? Number 2, the second reason why people really don't or avoid decisions is insecurities. They're insecure about their decision abilities. But again, same thing goes with the first point, is that you create confidence by taking decisions, by going through the journey, by having the path cleared ahead of you. You start to build evidence. You start to build confidence over time. You start to expand your comfort zone, right? So when you're not used to taking decisions, of course you're going to be insecure, right? It's not something that you're comfortable with. It's not something that you're used to doing on a regular basis. It's taking decisions, taking charge in your life for yourself, right? You've been used to allowing others make decisions for you, especially when you're younger. You have your parents make decisions for you. You have your elders make decisions for you. When you grow up, you have your boss make decisions for you, right? And you kind of, all of a sudden, you're in your 20s or 30s, and every single decision in your life has been taken by someone else, right? And it becomes easy because you say, okay, well, people are making decisions for me. I'm just going to go with the flow. And all of a sudden you realize, hold on, I haven't made any sort of decision this whole time. And now I'm in a position where I don't want to be, right? Because this is not what I want to be. Somebody else made the decisions for me. I just went along with the ride. And sometimes you get, pretty serious wake-up call. And sometimes it may be too late. So the earlier you can start to make decisions, getting used to making decisions, the more control over your life you have. Again, good or bad, you have control over your life. You have ownership of your life, and you start to build confidence. You start to build evidence that you're capable of making decisions. You're capable of being in control of your own life. Number three, the third reason is really other people's opinions. We're worried about what other people are going to think about a decision. When honestly, people, if they haven't been to where you want to be, why should you listen to them in the first place? And honestly, people have their own insecurities. They have their own decisions that they're avoiding or making, regardless. They have their own lives. They have their own things to worry about. So as you go along in life, you come to realize that people's opinions don't mean much. They really don't mean much. They're not paying your bills. They're not living your life. You have your circle becomes smaller and smaller as you grow, older. When you're young, friends are important. Being popular is important. Other people's opinions are important. But as you grow older, you come to realize that your circle becomes very, very small. And all of a sudden, taking control and ownership of your life becomes more and more important. And the opinions of others, you come to realize that it's irrelevant for the most part. I'm not saying don't take people's opinions, don't take advice, but be mindful of who you're taking advice from. Be mindful of who's in your ear. And take the information. If somebody wants to take the time to give you an opinion, give you constructive criticism, take it, analyze it, but be confident enough in yourself to make a decision that you see fit for yourself, not based on what they're going to think of that, right? There's a big, big difference there. Does anybody have any comments or questions, anything they'd like to share so far?
Yeah, you're dead on. I'll be 55 next month, and I really don't care what people think. To a point, I get your point. I do take people's opinions and consider it. And if there's goodness there, I'll glean what I can out of it. But beyond that, if it's critical and they've never been where I want to go, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's something that we learn as we get older, right? John, you know how it is. When we're younger, we're so worried. We're so, it's such an important thing in our lives what people think of us. And as we go through life challenges and we realize that nobody's coming to save you. You're on your own, and everybody's got their own shit. Everybody, if you start to talk to people and really have conversations, you realize that everybody's got their own shit to worry about. Everybody's got their story. Everybody's got their struggles. So people's opinions, it just becomes less and less relevant over time, right? So definitely. Anybody else?
I would like to say that I appreciate you, Coach Rob, for taking the time out of your day to talk to us.
Of course, brother. Always, always, always. It's been overdue, actually. It's been a while. I think this is the first one in 2026. So yeah, I've been itching to get back at it for sure. The last point is the fear of change. The fear of change. As humans, we do not like change. We do not like to adapt to change. We adapt to our current realities, and we like our comfort, right? We like what we're used to seeing, our little comforts, our home, our little hobbies, our little habits. We don't like change very much. And oftentimes making decisions means change, right? You have to make that decision that you've been avoiding for a long time. You're in a job that you cannot stand. You're in a relationship that you cannot no longer be, and you know that is no longer working. You're maybe leading towards addiction or depression because of avoidance, and you need to make a decision, but that fear of change, it really has an impact on you. And unfortunately, a lot of the times it's only when we hit rock bottom, where we're given no other choice but to pull the trigger to make a decision, is when we make the decision, right? And myself included. I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't made the decision, but I was in a way forced to make a decision, basically sink or swim, at the point where if I don't do something, I'm going to be 6 feet under. So I need to either decide I want to live or die, and a lot of times, it's when the pain of change, or the pain of remaining the same, becomes greater than the pain of change. That's when we make decisions, right? But why does it have to be the case? Why do we have to wait until we have no other choice when we know it's right in front of us? We know we need to make that decision, but we avoid it because we're terrified of change, right? We're terrified of it. But we know exactly what needs to be done. Pull the trigger. Do yourself a favor. Don't wait until you have no other choice, because sitting on it will just bring about worse. It'll just make it worse. It will just make it worse. So you might as well pull the trigger now, because you know exactly what needs to be done. Oftentimes you do, right? So that's decision making. And honestly, again, I want to just close that off a little bit and reiterate the fact that whether or not the decision is right or bad, whether it's good or not, you're taking control and ownership of your life. And that's where you want to be. You want to be in a driver's seat. If it's a bad decision, it's on you. If it's a good decision, it's on you. You don't want to be relying on somebody else's decision ability to dictate your life, right? Take ownership. You don't want to be in the back seat. You want to be in the driver's seat of your life. So again, get used to taking small decisions. If you're not used to taking decisions for yourself, make small decisions. What am I going to do today? What's my priority for the day? Make the decision. What do I want to do with my day? Not what others are going to do for me or tell me what to do. What do I want? And make the decision. Follow up on it and make sure to celebrate that and build that confidence over time. Start small. Number 2 is taking action. I want to really touch on taking action versus procrastination, because procrastination is something that a lot of us do, right? So on the left, we're going to be talking about procrastination. On the right, we're going to be talking about action. So I want to start with procrastination. Procrastination promises relief, but delivers anxiety and holds regret. Versus action, which avoids anxiety, delivers relief, and releases regret. Does that resonate with anybody? Does that make sense?
Absolutely resonates with me.
The screen is not
Definitely.
changing.
Who is that?
I don't know
Andrew?
if you're aware.
Yeah, that was me.
Andrew, how are you, man?
I'm great. Nice to see you, sir. Sorry I was late.
No worries. So tell me more. How does that resonate with you?
Well, it just so happens that I've decided to participate in Lent for the first time, and one of the things I gave up was screen time. And it's something that I had already been thinking about, that I can just get lost, either scrolling, or when I sit down to eat a meal and that turns into an hour plus and it turns into a TV session instead of an actual break. And I found myself just getting lost in the screens, right? Meanwhile, I'm constantly thinking about the things that I should be doing. And oh, aren't you going to follow up with that person now? And oh, aren't you going to, I have a list of things, I could be doing all those things. And that's the stuff that I end up thinking about. And when I decide, I make the decision and then I actually start knocking things off the list, I sleep better. I find that my mind is more peaceful because I'm actually putting that positive effort into my life.
Exactly. Great
As
points.
opposed to just thinking about it. Like, I wish I would have put that effort in today. And I got real tired of going to bed at night and feeling like I just wasted another day when I had the opportunity to
The
just
regret.
get things
Yeah.
done and get on that trajectory, and every day just do something to keep it moving forward. Because when it stops, it's very hard to get it going again. That momentum is very hard to get going.
Absolutely. Agreed. So you touched about a little bit of anxiety. You touched on regret there, right? And the thing is that everything you avoid just amplifies. It doesn't go away. It just gets worse. It amplifies, right? Regardless of what it is. If you're avoiding a conversation, if you're avoiding you're getting your health in check, if you're avoiding making the decision, if you're avoiding a project, it just amplifies. It just sticks there, right? It just makes it worse. It starts to grow in your mind, and the anxiety grows, right? And avoidance is the worst thing. So you may think, well, it might deliver temporary relief, right? I'm gonna put it on till tomorrow, right? So today I can relax and do whatever I want to do, and tomorrow's another day, I'll take care of it. So you have a little bit of a temporary relief, but all of a sudden, before you know it, it starts to creep up on you. You start to think about it, and then time goes on, hours go on, and it's like, okay, I need to get this done. And then the next day you're like, okay, let's start next week. It's Friday, it's the weekend. I'm going to enjoy the weekend. Monday we'll start. And then you push it and you push it and you push it. And all of a sudden time goes on and you start to feel anxious because time flies, as we all know, and you're still miserable. You're still wanting to make a change, but you haven't taken that first step. So things just start to amplify and amplify. All of a sudden, you have no more time. The opportunity has passed for whatever reason. And then there's regret that sets in. And once regret sets in, that's basically means you had your opportunity. It's gone. There's nothing you can do about it at this point. And there's nothing worse than regret.
Yeah.
So taking action is painful. Taking action is difficult. Taking action is hard, no doubt about it. But you know what's a lot harder? Is living with regret, is having to deal with anxiety on a daily basis, because you're capable of so much more, but you're selling yourself short because you're afraid of taking action. That's a lot harder. Living a life that you don't enjoy, that doesn't align with you, because you're too afraid of taking action, that's a lot harder. That's a lot harder, especially, if you're going for years and a lot of people do, they just settle for less for years on end. They procrastinate and procrastinate and procrastinate. They avoid, and that just becomes unbelievably heavy at a certain point. And that's where addiction comes in. That's where depression comes in. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to depression and addiction. It's for me personally, the addiction of choice, which was alcohol, the alcohol was not the problem. It was the solution that I had to the problem, right? It was a terrible solution, but that was my way of avoiding. That was my way of escaping. That was my way of numbing, which was obviously the wrong thing. You can postpone, you could push it back, you could pretend it doesn't exist, you can numb it out. It's still there. And it's going to expand and grow until you can't take it anymore, until you're going to pop, right? So until you reach that breaking point, which is often rock bottom, right? So do yourself a favor, take that action, even though it's hard, even though it's difficult in the moment. It's temporary pain versus long-term pain. When we talk about procrastination, right? It's long-term pain. You're just delaying the inevitable, and it just grows over time, as we just mentioned, right? Action, short-term pain, but it delivers long-term relief and releases regret, right? Again, it's not about always taking the right action, just like decision, but taking action will deliver clarity. It will open up doors, right? Because taking that action doesn't always mean you're going to make the right decision or the right action, but it will open up the doors. It would open up, it will deliver clarity, right? It will release regret, because if you take that action and it might not necessarily be the good one, at least you can say to yourself, I took that chance, I took that opportunity, it didn't work out. At least I know I can sleep better at night, that I've taken a decision. I went all in. I gave myself the best shot. It didn't work out, but I learned a whole bunch of lessons, and I'll be better for it next time. And you don't have that regret, that sense of, I had that opportunity and now it's gone and there's nothing I can do about it now. Right? And a ton of people live with regret in their lives. A ton. Right? And when you don't have an opportunity to turn back time and to, do something about it, it's the worst feeling. It's the worst feeling in life. Anybody else have any comments or questions on that?
Yeah. Good stuff.
Just gonna go through the chat real quick. Okay. No relevant comments there. Okay, good stuff. So is that clear? Taking action versus procrastination for everybody? Is that cool? Before we move on, no comments?
Yeah. It takes action to get out of any situation, really.
Somebody saying something?
Oh yeah.
Is that you,
can hear
Tyler?
me? Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying that it takes action to get out of any situation, and sometimes when I'm really depressed, it takes just deciding to get up and doing whatever it is that's in front of me, and just do it, So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
It's
those
it's the
simple
same
steps.
thing with decision making. Action. I often compare, taking action and stagnation. I compare it to water. Stagnation is death and movement is life, right? And water is kind of the same thing. If you look at a lake that is, there's no movement, there's no water flow in, there's no water flow out, there's no life in it. It's a stagnant pool of water. It eventually dies. And if you look at a lake that is healthy, there are rivers flowing in, rivers flowing out. There's life in it. There are frogs, there are birds, there's life, there's movement, there's life, right? We're the same way. It's the same thing. If we sit stagnant and we're indecisive and we don't take action, we slowly die. Our minds start to die, right? We start to get depressed. We start to fall to addiction and all of that. So movement is everything. Making decisions, taking action, Again, good or bad, doesn't matter. You're moving forward. Your mind is working. You're avoiding stagnation. You're avoiding depression. You're avoiding anxiety. You're avoiding addiction. So it's so important to just get out into the world and make things happen, right? It's easy to sit on our couches and avoid responsibility, avoid the world, you know, but it becomes a very dark place after a while.
Yeah, those.
The third one is living with intentionality. So we want to make sure that the decisions that we make, the actions that we take, we want to make sure that they're intentional, right? We want to make sure that we're in the driver's seat of our lives. And oftentimes, you know, as grown people, we have families, we have jobs, we have careers, we have responsibilities. We go through life on autopilot. You know, Monday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, Friday, Sunday, cycle of, you know, the week. Thank God it's Friday. I made a post about it yesterday. Thank God it's Friday. Oh, crap, tomorrow's Monday. Oh, it's Wednesday. It's hump day, halfway through the week. And we go through the cycle of just being busy, just life on autopilot. And we feel like we have no time, right? We're just running around doing errands, doing this, doing that. But when we take a minute and really analyze our week, we realize that nothing was done based on what we wanted to do. Nothing was done based on intentionality, right? We're busy like crazy, but we haven't taken the time for ourselves. We haven't taken the time to take care of our health. We haven't taken the time to eat properly, to work out, to work on our mental health. Right? Nothing is intentional. It's just Groundhog's Day every single day. We're just being responsible people. We do what we got to do. And hopefully we get to have an afternoon off for ourselves to do whatever. Right? So we want to make sure that we're living a life with intentionality. So I would suggest really taking an inventory of what it is you do during the week. Where is your energy going? Where is your energy being leaked? Who is draining your energy? Who is taking your energy? What is draining your energy? Where can you save time? Where can you allocate more of your time? Right? So every week, every Sunday, I plan my week ahead. I make sure that I'm being intentional with everything that I do. And everything that doesn't align with my values, anything that doesn't align with where I'm going, I just don't allocate any time to it. That's it. No time to waste. No time to waste. We all know life goes by really, really fast, and we only have 24 hours in a day, and we can't be everywhere at the same time. And when we have people and things draining our energy where they shouldn't be, where we're allowing them to be, we need to get rid of that. So we need to really make an inventory of our days, our weeks, what we're doing with our time, where we're allocating our time, and where we could save our time. So structuring your days, structuring your weeks, structuring your months, structuring your quarter is extremely important. It's not about, you know, being a robot. Things happen, life happens, you know, you also have to enjoy life and all of that. But it's making sure that you're aware of what it is you're doing in a day and questioning yourself on a regular basis. What I'm doing currently, is it getting me closer or further away from my objectives? Questioning that on a regular basis. Is what I'm doing productive towards where I want to be? Or am I just wasting my time right now? Is this person that I'm speaking to, is this person in my life aligned with my values, or are they just draining me? Or are they just holding me back? You know, we all know people like that in our lives. It could be a boss, it could be a brother, it could be a sister, it could be a whatever. We have people in our lives that just drain the crap out of our energy, and we need to release that. Right? So making proper inventory and properly structuring our days are very, very important. So what does the week ahead look like to me? What are my objectives? What are my priorities? You need to know these things, right? To make sure that you're intentional with everything that you do. The second thing is being aware of who's in your ear, right? We just touched on that a little bit. Who's draining your energy? Who's basically, I'm looking for a word right now. Regardless, who's making the decisions for you? Who's affecting your decisions? Who's draining your energy once again? So it's very, very important to be aware of your surroundings, aware of who you allocate your time to. Number 3 is setting your boundaries. That goes into who's in your ear, who's affecting your decisions, right? Having clear boundaries, knowing your priorities, right? And saying, this doesn't align with what I need to be doing right now. Going out on Saturday night sounds like fun, but I won't be partaking because I have clarity with what I want to do with my life. And this is just not a priority to me right now. And I'm going to be setting boundaries. And if you don't like it, too bad. You know, and that takes a lot of confidence sometimes, is really drawing a line in the sand and saying, no, I'm not partaking in that. That's just not a priority to me right now. And you might sound like an asshole, but who cares? If people can respect your priorities and your boundaries, then that's on them, right? So having clear boundaries is super important. Having clarity, again, with what it is you want in your life. Journaling is something that I practice on a daily basis. I know many of you do. Rebecca, I know that you do as well. Journaling is a very, very powerful tool in terms of providing clarity, writing down what your objectives are, what your goals are, how you're feeling, where you're going, your dreams. Having clarity as to where you're going will make sure that you have intentionality moving forward. Structuring your days, we already spoke about it. Non-negotiables, having a list of non-negotiables, things that you will not stray away from no matter what, your priorities. For me, my morning routine is my non-negotiable. And within that morning routine, there's a bunch of non-negotiables in there, which include obviously my health as my number one priority, which should be everybody's number one priority is their health. So having a list of non-negotiables that you do not stray away from, no matter what, is key. So identifying that is very, very important. What are your non-negotiables? What are you not willing to negotiate with anybody, including yourself, with? Extremely important, right? So that goes with clarity. That goes with setting boundaries. That goes with structuring your days. The other one is aligning action with values, right? What's your why? Why are you doing this? What is it for? Attaching it to your values. Very, very important, right? You have to know why you're doing something. You have to have a good reason why you're doing something. A lot of times, I often touch on New Year's resolutions and why people fail. We just went through New Year's, right? Why a lot of people fail in terms of New Year's resolutions is because they don't attach it to their values. They throw things on the board saying, well, I should be doing this. I should get healthy. I should change jobs. I should get on a diet. I should do this. I should do that. But they don't attach it to anything. They don't know why they're really doing it. They're doing it because they feel like they should be doing it because it's New Year's, and that's what everybody does is New Year's resolutions, right? But there's no real strong attachment to it. So aligning your actions with values is super important. And the last one is stop drifting, start directing. And that it ties into taking action, ties into making decisions, being in the driver's seat of your life, being intentional with everything that you do, being confident with the decisions that you make, and being prompt with the actions that you take. Does that resonate with everybody? Does anybody have any questions or comments on that?
That really does, Rob, a lot for me. Um, just again, just a lot of things that I've been thinking here lately, repeated, coming out in actual real life and in other people's lives, and you know, it's just interesting. It's really good stuff here. Appreciate it.
I'm glad it resonates with you, man.
I would like to, excuse me, I would like to add to what the fellow was just saying just now, and I really appreciate you speaking to us because the words that you are saying are very much adding value to my life.
I'm glad, guys. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Anybody else would like to share? All right, guys. So we're going to be moving to the last point of the presentation, which is building unshakable discipline. The number one factor why people have difficulty with discipline is that they rely on motivation and motivation. I mean, this is a debate that I have often with my usual co-host Brennan Thompson, where we talk about motivation versus discipline. And in my humble opinion, motivation is emotionally driven and fleeting. It's temporary. If you continuously look for motivation to do something, you'll never create any sort of real momentum and consistency. Discipline, it's not about being a robot. It's not about punishment. It's about consistency. That's really what it is. It's not necessarily even about discipline. It's more about consistency. It's about doing it regardless of how you feel about it, how motivated you are that day, is making sure that you get it done regardless. Right? We all have jobs, or we've all had jobs at one point in our lives. We do shit that we don't want to do on a regular basis in our 9 to 5s. We do it because we have to, right? Because the boss tells you you have to do this, you have to perform, you have to get your paycheck at the end of the month, at the end of the week. Why can't we do that for our own priorities, objectives, our own lives, right? Why can't we be so disciplined with our own shit? Because there's no immediate gratification, because there's no paycheck at the end of the week? Is it because we're being told you have to do it? Why can't we take ownership of our lives and say, no, I have to do this for my own well-being, for my objectives, for my health, for my mental health, for whatever reasons you have? Don't give yourself that out. Don't give yourself that option of I'm not going to do it today just because there's no immediate gratification or immediate what's the word I'm looking for? Regardless, if there's no, oh man, the word I'm looking for, I'm forgetting. I apologize.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. Anyway, I was on a roll there for a second, but it's all good. So why can't we just be so disciplined with our own everyday lives? You know, why do we have to be told that we have to do something for us to do something, right? Why do we have to let ourselves off the hook all the time? So disregarding motivation, disregard it. Number 2 is build systems on autopilot. Meaning having structure with your routine and making sure that it becomes automated to you, that it doesn't become, that it's not forced. Obviously in the beginning it feels forced because you're not used to doing something, right? You have your routines, you have your hobbies, you have your habits, and now you're transitioning to better habits, to better routines, to all of that. So it may feel forced at first, but building a system that's on autopilot, you know, by having proper structure and having a really clear objective and having a clear schedule, clarity in your schedule is super important. So for me, what sets me up, what I have on autopilot is my morning routine. I often say, do the hardest things first in the morning. Don't let the hard things sit on your desk all day long, because you'll eventually negotiate yourself out of them. So make sure that you get the hard things done first. And the morning routine is so important in terms of setting the tone for the rest of the day, right? So having that winning morning routine on autopilot is so key, because it just sets the tone for the rest of the day. So for me, I have my 6 or 7 or 8 non-negotiables that I have in my day, in my morning. I know that when I'm waking up, I'm hydrating, I'm getting into the cold plunge, I'm journaling, I'm meditating, I'm going to the gym. You know, it's autopilot stuff. It's just, this is what it is. I'm just banging it out, not even thinking about it. So having a proper system in play for you, whatever that looks like, it doesn't have to be what I do. Whatever that makes sense to you, that aligns with your objectives, have a system on autopilot that just, it's a winning formula for you, whatever that looks like to you. It's different for everybody, but having a system that's on autopilot that just helps you bang things out is important. Do the hard things first. We just mentioned that. You know, there a lot of people. I was having a debate with someone on a call yesterday where he's having trouble with doing the hard things first. He likes to kind of, you know, warm up to it kind of thing, but eventually you end up negotiating yourself out of it. You may get it done, you may not. Just make sure that you get the priorities out of the way, regardless. What's the priority for the day? Make sure that that gets done first. Doesn't have to be the hardest thing, but make sure that that priority is being done. And it's not about having 15, 20, you know, priorities in a day. It's about having 3. What's your top 3 objectives of the day? What are the priorities? Make sure those get done no matter what. No matter what. If you prefer doing it in the evening, fine. But I would suggest getting them done first. Make sure they get done first. The other one is structure. This is something that we've talked about, obviously, as having a proper structure, making sure your week is structured, your day is structured. Every night, I take inventory of my day, what was good, what was bad, and I look forward to the next day. What do I need to do tomorrow? What are my main priorities? I jot things down, I journal, make sure that the next morning I have my to-do list, I'm ready to go, I have clarity, I have structure, I know exactly where I'm going. The other one is health. Health is priority. To me, when we talk about priority, health is everything. Health, in my opinion, is the foundation to everything. Regardless of what your objectives are, where you want to be in life. You know, we all have a ton of problems in our lives. We all have a ton of issues. We all have a ton of concerns, of whatever, right? We all have a baggage. But the moment our health is in play, the moment we lose our health, nothing else matters. The only one thing that matters is our health, right? So why do we make health the last on the bucket list, basically? Why do we make health the last on the priorities list, right? I'll start the diet when I have more time, or I'll start the diet next month, or I'll get in the gym when I find some more time. Maybe this evening I might squeeze it in. Maybe not. I don't know. We completely neglect our health, but we all know this for a fact, right? The moment we lose our health, nothing else. The bills don't matter. The finances don't matter. The relationships don't matter. The job, who gives a shit? Nothing else matters except our health. But yet we see it upside down. We put it on the bottom of the list. We make our careers number 1 on the list, or whatever our priorities are. Health should be hands down the number 1 priority. Once we have our health in check, everything else becomes easier. Once our mental health is there, once our physical health is there, everything becomes easier. We can think clear. We can operate better. We're more efficient with our time. Our moods are better. All of a sudden, things that were negative, all of a sudden we're able to spin them to a positive. Where we used to only see problems, now we see solutions, right? So if you want to build discipline, if you want to be efficient, if you want to be effective with everything that you do, you need to put your health as your number one priority. That's your number one job. If you want to be there for your family, you want to be, a role model, you want to provide, you want to be a leader, you have to have your health as your number one priority, no matter what. Anybody have any comments or questions on that?
Yeah, it's all facts.
Absolutely. 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 Thanks, Tyler. Anybody else? Okay, the other point is the art of saying no. Often we don't want to say no to people. We want to please others,
It's a tough one.
right? Sorry?
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Yeah, that is definitely a tough one. It goes into having clear boundaries and saying no. Sometimes it's you don't want to say no, right? You want to be accommodating. You want to help people. You want to be there for people. You want to be involved. You want to be, part of the gang. So you say yes when maybe you shouldn't. When you have other priorities. When you just want to please people, right? But the art of saying no is not about being an asshole. It's not about being a prick. It's about knowing your priorities. And saying no sometimes, saying no to yourself sometimes too, right? Is also important. Is saying no, we can't be sitting on our ass today. We can't take a day off today. We have priorities and we need to get things done. So the art of saying no is a challenging one for many, but is very, very important in terms of our ability to live with intentionality.
It also makes a clear boundary of like who's worthy of can stay in your life or not. I mean.
Yeah.
Because when you set a boundary and that a person becomes all of a sudden uncomfortable with that boundary, there's a reason for that discomfort in them. And, sometimes depending on what that boundary is, it's going to reveal different facts about the intentions of their relationship with you.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. Completely agree with you, Tyler. Anybody else? The next one is zeroing in on the task at hand. A lot of times we get overwhelmed, right? Because we take on more than we can handle, or we just don't have necessarily much clarity, or it just feels like an overbearing mountain, right? Life in general, not even when it comes to discipline or certain objectives. Life in general sometimes can be overwhelming, right? We look at the big picture and we're like, this is too much for me. I have too many things to worry about. I don't know how I'm going to make it through. Zero in on the task at hand. Focus in on what's important right now, what you need to do today, now. What is the objective? Tomorrow's tomorrow. Today's today. We need to worry about, we need to make sure we're taking one more step forward. No, don't worry about the entire race. Don't worry about the finish line. Worry about today, taking that step today. Having clarity as to what it is you need to do today. We talked about the 3 priorities for the day. Make sure those get accomplished. And then at the end of the day, you could take inventory of your day and make sure that you could set up the next day. But right now, you need to worry about this. There's nothing else that matters right now. Don't worry about the what ifs. Don't worry about if it doesn't work out or this, that, the intangibles. We can't control what happens in the future. All you can control is what's in front of you right now. So zero in on the task at hand. Last but not least, is really taking the time to celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
Celebrate the wins. You know, oftentimes we're so quick to be hard on ourselves, right? We forget to celebrate the small wins, the small things that we've done that are positive, right? Doing what we set out to do, following through on our word, going to the gym when we didn't really feel like it, eating clean, whatever, you know, starting that project, getting movement on that project. Making sure that you celebrate those wins is super, super important, regardless of the size of the win. It's important to take note of them. It's not about telling the world, look what I did. It's about telling yourself, good job. Pat on the back. You did that. You followed through on your word. You did what you set out to do for today. Good job. Let's check the box and let's move on. Right? Move on to the next. So taking the time to celebrate those wins is super, super important. So that was the presentation for today. I hope you guys liked it. I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions, anything. I could open it up now to the floor. Anybody wants to share their own personal thoughts, anything at all?
Yeah, you know, this is kind of right on point with what I needed to hear. And I mean, I always love these groups because it always seems to be that way, that it's, you know, just whatever's been weighing on my heart somehow pops out in the group. And, you know, I couldn't have said it better myself. So good job. Good job.
Thanks for being there, Tyler. I appreciate you. And thanks for the comments.
Yeah.
Anybody else would like to share? Before we close it up? All good?
All good, I guess.
All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today. I hope you enjoyed the call. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Sounds good.
Have a great day, guys.
Hey, you too, Rob.
Thanks, man.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
You too.